Hello. I was listening back to what I had said about Ouspensky. It impresses me that he was able to say at the end of his life that his work had not got where he wanted it to go. Few people have that kind of courage, you know. Very few people. Very few people even have an aim by which to measure their successes and failures. Gurdjieff said that if you give a man a problem, then a good man would halve it, and a bad man double it. I did some work with Ouspensky's ideas to observe your lying. I found it very useful. I'm sure it is very useful, as long as you use it to get to know yourself, rather than to control yourself. And I know that there are some very nice books from a woman called Rebecca Nottingham, where she goes through Ouspensky's ideas, inner stop, inner separation, observing lying and vanity. And she wrote those books very nicely, like a stream of consciousness, and I recommend them, because she's not too heavy-handed. She's exploring through herself. And she has removed all notions of cosmology and energy. And so those psychological investigations stand alone. And I think they can work like that. And especially because I believe she's a Christian woman. She was married to a priest for a long time, and perhaps they still are married, I don't know. And if you are Christian, then gentle observation and learning about your psychology can be very helpful to reduce the heat and the energy inside the psyche, to calm it all down. And then I think you can use Ouspensky's ideas quite well. Two ways that Ouspensky's ideas go wrong, and I have seen this overwhelmingly commonly in groups that are using Ouspensky's techniques, which is most of the fourth way groups. The first thing is that they are just using the hunting mind to control things. So when they observe themselves, they're really just staring at themselves, or trying to control, or they have no real interest to touch themselves, to feel who they are inside. They're not soul people. They're just using the hunting mind to beat the psyche with a stick, and then they beat each other with a stick and terrorize each other for having negative emotions. These people are doing very little. They are using the hunting mind and nothing else. Whereas those people who are more soul people and wish to learn about how their psyche is functioning and how they are not as sincere as they thought. Those people who ask these questions from the heart, they can gently use the Ouspensky techniques, like that book from Rebecca Nottingham. And the second category of Ouspensky deviations are those people who imagine that they're going to do some energy work. And those are the people who puzzle over the higher ideas, which truly will mean nothing to all but a very, very small group of people who have special sensitivity to energy. And in fact, Gurdjieff addresses those people. I will read that out. This is Gurdjieff's address to people who are prime for the energetic path. He says, "If anyone is by chance interested in the ideas presented in this chapter, seriously interested, not taking them lightly as contemporary people usually do, and if he is endowed with physical, moral, psychic, and material data whose quality is satisfactory according to my understanding, I earnestly advise him to mobilize his forces and above all bring together in himself the requisite conditions for becoming worthy to be an all rights possessing pupil of my universal laboratory, the laboratory I intend to open after completing my writings, and the creation of which will be connected with the last phase of my intense activity for the good of all mankind." Surely not so many fall into that category. The risk of making these strong statements about Ouspensky is that I miss something. Yet it is important to make strong statements and clarify things. I can't tell anybody what to do. I can just share with you what I see. Given the huge amount of work and good results that I've had, I think it's worth sharing, which is why all of this material is shared with you. I have many books by Gurdjieff students, and I've sat with them and been with Gurdjieff and tried to feel the presence of the man and the teaching environment. I have been in many teaching environments, in many serious spiritual schools, and I'm grateful for their many records, and there is a need, I think, to enter into a different world with these people, because otherwise you'll just be drowned by the society as it is. That's the same for all spiritual paths. You need to try to find a way to live a different kind of life in a different kind of world. One thing about Gurdjieff's higher ideas is that they really are very difficult to understand, and you would have to become vastly more intelligent than an ordinary person, and the only way to do that is to go into that material, Beelzebub's tales and the movements and the exercises as Gurdjieff set them. Put yourself in the seat of the student at the Paris meetings. They are for a higher kind of creature. They're not to be understood normally. And so, there's a great joy, I think, of having such material. Beelzebub Tales is such material. It is very difficult and worthy of the difficulty, we cannot evolve without evolving. There's no shortcut to evolving. It's as hard to teach oneself as it is to teach a donkey. We're all donkeys, and we have to help ourselves and love ourselves into a higher world. Ouspensky used to ask that question of himself, how higher ideas could be rendered into the three-dimensional world, how they could be more than just ideas, in other words. We are very privileged to have these teachers and their teachings. They are from a different world.